Stop. You are not gonna believe this shit. So, the great state of Florida finally may license and therefore legalize naturopathic medicine for the first time in 67 years. So the bill did pass the Senate last Thursday in Florida, and it is expected to pass the House next week. Fingers crossed. So most of you would know me as a calm, sweet girl. And although I am that, allow me to get spicy today because I got a lot to say. I got critiques, I got commentary to the critics and regarding this amazing breaking news. And for those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Lisa Matejka, naturopathic doctor, energy worker, transformational life coach, and I help open-minded women with cancer heal themselves on a deeper level with my holistic system, compassionate guidance, and loving support without the confusion and overwhelm. All right, let's get into it. So I found this article on Newsbreak, and I'm going to read it so you have the full story, and I'm going to give my fun commentary and critiques because there is a lot to learn here, people. There is a lot to learn. All right, are you ready? All right. For its devotees, naturopathy is an alternative approach to health that focuses on the whole body through adjustments to lifestyle, diet, and exercise. Actually, that's not even correct, because naturopathic medicine is not alternative medicine. Alternative medicine means alternative to conventional. It can be alternative, but it's usually not. It's usually used in conjunction with conventional, and therefore it is more of an integrative or complementary medicine approach. And of course, it includes more than those couple things listed. That could include acupuncture, herbal remedies, vitamin supplements, medicinal mushrooms, and so-called lifestyle medicine. So-called. If y'all don't believe in lifestyle medicine, you're way behind the eight ball, something like that. Where patients are advised to adopt changes in nutrition, environment, and sleep patterns. Okay, so according to the American Association of Naturopathic Physicians, naturopathic medicine is actually diet and nutrition, botanical medicine, homeopathy, physical medicine, hydrotherapy, prevention and lifestyle, coaching, intravenous therapy, mind-body medicine, and more. Yeah, I should probably have those memorized, but this is the first video I've done in like 4 months, so bear with me. And, you know, it really actually doesn't include acupuncture because that's a whole separate thing in and of itself. You could call acupuncture natural medicine, but naturopathic medicine is a specific thing. Okay, next. Other treatments touted by naturopaths are more unconventional, like using sound vibrations to manage pain. Perhaps. Yes, physiotherapy is something that naturopathic doctors learn how to do, but really when it comes to like sound vibrations and things of that nature, that's more in the metaphysical realm, which does appeal to many naturopathic doctors, but not all, and that is not something that is taught in the naturopathic medical colleges. It's an approach that critics describe as a potentially dangerous pseudoscience that can lead patients to spurn medically necessary treatment for health issues like cancer in favor of ineffective and unproven treatments. In some cases, that path has led to death. All right, let's pick apart that paragraph, shall we? Potentially dangerous pseudoscience? Okay, let's start with the danger part. Let's start with the may lead to death part, because certainly conventional medicine has never done that. Did you guys know that iatrogenic causes of death are the number 3 reason people die in the US? Number 1, heart disease. Number 2, cancer. Number 3, iatrogenic. What's that? Oh, it's a term they use to disguise what it really is. It's dying from medical mistakes or medical procedures that may have been done correctly. It's basically death from doctors, hospitals, and the conventional medicine system. That's what it is. And it accounts for anywhere from 250 to 440,000 deaths per year. Iatrogenic means deaths resulting from medical errors or treatment. Medical errors or treatment, third leading cause of death in the United States. And somehow naturopathic medicine is dangerous and can lead to deaths. Okay, there's a reason there's medical malpractice for doctors, because it's that common that people are suing them for medical errors or for the treatment being bad. Okay, so let's get that out the way. Pseudoscience. Okay. I went to naturopathic medical school and it was entirely evidence-based, scientific study validated. Yes, there are things you can learn on your own that maybe don't have the science behind it that people might be using in their practices. And there's not even necessarily anything wrong with that. A lot of it is folk medicine. There's reasons that there's not as many studies on natural things as there are drugs because of the big pharma, and it costs a lot of money to run those trials. And when something is natural and can't be patented, then nobody wants to pay for those studies. There's a lot of issues that go on with that side of things. Not to mention, okay, pseudoscience, not to mention, let's talk about those medical trials that approve drugs. Sure, they're double-blind, placebo-controlled trials on the books, but are they really? They're funded by big pharma. There's a lot of money behind them. They're run by big pharma. You think there's perfect science going in the background there? They're not cooking the books, fudging the numbers a little bit? They are. But that's why so many drugs that have been deemed safe and effective have been recalled off the market, because people have been dying in greater numbers than allotted for, because yes, there is an allotted number for a certain amount of deaths to be expected. And one of those is Vioxx, one of many. So, pseudoscience. You mean like how SSRIs were found to be negligibly better than placebo when it comes to treating depression, which means not statistically significantly better than a placebo when it comes to treating depression? Pseudoscience. Okay. Naturopathy is legalized in 23 states, including California and Arizona. Yes, catch up rest of the country, and most of the unlicensed states are in the South, actually. The South is always behind. It has been illegal in Florida since the state stopped issuing licenses in 1959. At that time, only 6 other states recognized the profession, and there were no schools in the US that taught it. Well, that's changed now. But the alternative approach, again, it's not an alternative approach, could be on its way back in Florida, despite concerns that some of its methods are scientifically unproven. They like to use that term, scientifically unproven. It's just simply not true. A lot of it is most of it is scientifically proven. A bill to legalize and license naturopathic physicians was passed by the Florida Senate on Thursday. A matching bill in the State House will likely be voted on next week. Critics are alarmed. Why are we allowing people to call themselves doctors who lack sufficient education and training in medicine and science to diagnose and treat diseases? Said Jan Bellamy, a retired lawyer who writes about medical legal issues. Well, I got something to tell you, Jan Bellamy. For someone who's a lawyer, you really haven't done your research, have you? Or you're just straight up lying. Well, I suppose lawyers have never done that before. Because here's the truth of it. I'll show you this, and I'll show you guys this document right here. It is actually a comparative curricula of 2 naturopathic medical schools, National College of Naturopathic Medicine, that's actually where I graduated, Bastyr University, and then conventional medical institutions, Yale, Johns Hopkins, Medical College of Wisconsin, and hey, I'm from Wisconsin, so I got nothing against them. And then these 2 don't even count, because these are non-accredited naturopathic medical training that the bill doesn't apply to them. These people aren't part of this, so they don't count. But this is just to show you. As you can see, wow, as far as basic and clinical sciences in the college curricula, it looks like both the naturopathic medical schools actually have more credits than Yale and the Medical College of Wisconsin. Okay, Johns Hopkins won out. Now, clerkships in allopathic therapeutics. You can read what that all is. Huh. It looks like it's pretty comparable, doesn't it, when it comes to, I mean, sure, there's a little bit more with Yale and Johns Hopkins, but when it comes to Medical College of Wisconsin, that's pretty comparable to the National College of Naturopathic Medicine, isn't it? Now, when it comes to naturopathic therapeutics, of course, there's zero in all the other schools. So how can they even really judge it? How can they even talk shit or even be critical of it when they have no training in it? Whereas we actually have a lot of training in pharmaceuticals. I will tell you, I was actually a little upset at my naturopathic medical school education because I was studying pharmaceuticals so much more than I was studying herbs, homeopathy, or any kind of naturopathic treatments because we had to be sure that we could practice safely and keep up with the conventional people. So, yeah, naturopathic doctors not only know conventional, they know naturopathic, whereas conventional, they only know conventional. They don't know naturopathic. All right, therapeutic nutrition. So you think, at this day and age, nutrition is kind of a real science at this point, and yet, oh, zero for Yale, zero Johns Hopkins, zero Medical College of Wisconsin for nutrition. Counseling, a lot more of the naturopathic medical schools than, oh, it's included in like maybe one class here for the conventional medical schools. Total hours of training. Wow. I mean, it looks like both NCNM, National College of Naturopathic Medicine, and Bastyr, looks like they both beat out Yale in terms of total hours of training and the Medical College of Wisconsin. And sure, Johns Hopkins won out overall. So don't tell us that we don't have adequate education. The bill would create a 7-member board of naturopathic medicine within the Department of Health to license and oversee practitioners who can call themselves doctors. It would be comprised of at least 4 licensed naturopathic doctors, 2 medical doctors, and a regular citizen. I think they should have had more than a regular citizen, but whatever, that sounds fine. To qualify as a naturopathic doctor would require a bachelor's degree in any subject. That's actually not true, and I'll tell you why in a second. And the completion of a 4-year doctoral degree in naturopathy from a college or university with a program accredited by an agency recognized by the U.S. Department of Education. Yes, you would have to graduate from an accredited naturopathic medical school, and there's really only a handful of those in the country. They're hard to find. There's not many. And the reason I say it's not true that you can have a bachelor's in any subject is because to get into those accredited, I'm speaking from experience here, to get into those accredited medical schools, you have to meet certain prerequisites. And I had a bachelor's in a science. I had bachelor's in zoology, which is very sciencey. It's not like I had a bachelor's in women's studies or something. And even that wasn't enough. I had to go back to college, to, my university, and get more biochemistry and more, was it organic chemistry, I think. So yeah, it's more rigorous than you might think. It's not an online degree. There's a lot of in-person clinic hours, preceptor hours. Anyway, okay. Unlike the rules to be a medical doctor, there is no requirement to complete a residency. That is true. There are residencies available for naturopathic doctors, but it's not required. But like I said, you're in the clinic from year number 2. There's a lot of clinic hours. There's also preceptor hours, which is following around a doctor. There's a lot, I don't remember how many. There's a lot of those. And then there's these things called checkoffs where you have like a bajillion things that you need to have done in the clinic. And so if you happen to have not done them on your shifts, you got to figure out how to find out how to do them. There's all sorts of requirements. In the field. Naturopathic doctors in Florida would be able to treat patients with plant and fungi extracts, give guidance on changes in nutrition, and recommend homeopathic remedies. Sounds pretty harmless. They could administer B12 injections, order imaging and lab tests, and conduct physical examinations, as they should, having gone through an actual medical degree. The bill does set some limits. Naturopathic doctors cannot prescribe drugs regulated by the Food and Drug Administration. Now, many states do allow that. I can prescribe drugs in the state of Oregon, but that would not be the case for the state of Florida, and that's fine. Let's get our foot in the door. And we didn't get in this profession to prescribe drugs anyway, although it is still something that we should fight for because there's a lot of good off-label uses of drugs, LDN, ivermectin, that kind of stuff. And you know, sometimes drugs are needed, and why send our patients somewhere else when we can be the go-to? They're really not needed that often though. Okay, would not be able to prescribe drugs, perform surgery. In some states we can practice minor surgery, but that's fine. Can't perform surgery, I'm okay with that. Cannot practice or convey themselves as a medical doctor or administer anesthetics and radioactive substances. That is perfectly fine by me. They would need a separate license to make chiropractic adjustments and perform acupuncture, and would need to be licensed as a midwife or physician to manage births. Also totally fine by me. Todd Robinson, I met him, great guy. President of the Florida Naturopathy Physicians Association, said the new law is needed to cater to a growing portion of the public that are increasingly skeptical about conventional medicine. I wonder why they're increasingly skeptical about conventional medicine. Could it be because it doesn't offer good results? Could it be because it's dangerous? Let me also add in here, I'm not even against conventional medicine per se. We all know it is what we want in an emergency situation and many acute situations. Really not that great for chronic situations. But it's not even the conventional medicine I'm against. It's not even the conventional doctors I'm against. Most of them went into the field with really good hearts, wanting to serve people, and they're just ignorant. They just don't know what they don't know. What I'm really against, like I said, is not even the medicine or the doctors per se. It's the institution. It's the hires up. It's the agenda. It's the system that is so broken and full of ill intent. Ill intent. We won't go down that hole, but that's definitely the truth. Agendas. Bad agendas. Let's see. And I got insider information. I know it's true. But he disputes that naturopathic doctors talk patients out of conventional treatment. This is 100% true. I wish more of them did talk patients out of conventional treatment, because the truth is, and I know this because my colleagues are naturopathic doctors, I'm in naturopathic doctor forums, groups, I know how this goes. I see patients that come to me from other naturopathic doctors. The truth is, I'm going to have to say most naturopathic doctors, when confronted with a patient, for example, with something like cancer, something, we'll call it pretty serious, not just like allergies or eczema, when they come with something more serious, even like heart disease or something like that, naturopathic doctors will tell that patient to go see a regular medical doctor. That is, in fact, that's kind of what we're trained to do in the medical schools, and I don't agree. So I don't do that necessarily. Within reason, of course. But that's what they do. And this is where I also have to go on a little tangent about, I probably should say most. Most would be accurate, but I'm going to say many, giving a lot of them the benefit of the doubt. Many naturopathic doctors are sellouts to conventional medicine. They're ass kissers, they're brown nosers, they're suck-ups to conventional medicine and conventional doctors. The last thing they're really doing is resisting or rebelling conventional medicine, okay? That's just the truth of it. I know that for a fact. And that really disappoints me, because the thing is, and on one hand, I do understand, because on one hand, we want our medicine to be accepted mainstream, and that doesn't just mean by the people, that means by the systems and the institutions. If we can get medical doctors on board, if we can get our medicine in more big clinics and hospitals, and if we can reach more people with it, then we're doing more good in the world. So I understand we shouldn't be fighting them. And so I think that's why a lot of them do more of the sellout, kiss up, ass kiss thing. And I get it. That's an approach. And sometimes that's what you got to do, But I think rather than bend the knee, we need to have an eye-to-eye conversation with them. We can have a civil conversation. That's not us bowing down to them. Because that is what I see with naturopathic doctors. And that's kind of how our schools are set up as well. Like we're still supposed to, cater to them and bow down to them. And that's certainly not my approach. And that's certainly not how I feel, because I have confidence in my medicine. When you need external validation so badly from others and approval seeking behavior from others, it's because you're not confident in yourself. And the same goes here. I'm confident in my medicine. I don't need their approval. I really don't need their permission. I certainly don't need their validation. And I'm certainly not going to sell out any part of what I do. Like, our medicine has become so compromised. It is quite far from the nature cure that it used to be. It is more like green allopathy now, which is kind of like just substituting some natural things for some conventional things, which is not the same as having a different systematic and philosophical approach to the disease. That's a whole nother tangent, but anyways. Patients are increasingly seeking guidance on how to integrate naturopathic and holistic medicine into the totality of their healthcare, he said. I advocate strongly for a complementary and integrative approach, not an alternative one. Yes, and I just have to say, because I know I'm coming across as very anti-conventional right now, and I do work with cancer patients exclusively, and I will tell you, like, maybe 50-50. Most of them probably are doing conventional treatment. They come to me with their minds made up. I don't need to change it for them. They come to me doing conventional treatment, wanting to do conventional treatment, but wanting naturopathic support. And those medicines, by the way, work very beautifully together, because the naturopathic medicine will protect the patient and their susceptible organs and tissues from the damage and toxicity that chemo can do, for example. It also will reduce the side effects and mitigate the side effects. And it also can make the treatment more effective, believe it or not, because there can be a synergy with naturopathic medicine and conventional medicine. And therefore, the patient benefits, everybody benefits. So I'm not against it. But there are a lot of people that come to me with their minds made up that they're not doing conventional. I'm certainly not going to tell them to. And, and therefore we go a whole different route, and the treatment plan looks completely different. Doesn't look the same at all, completely different. So yeah, a lot of people are using those medicines together, and they do work well together. But I think people should have the right to use naturopathic medicine by itself if that's what they want to do. Where's the sovereignty? We're the free state of Florida here. That includes cancer patients who are given a research review of their conditions and suggestions that can make the side effects of their treatment less severe. Those are shared with the patient's oncologist and sometimes their pharmacist, he said. So yeah, basically what Todd is saying is that when he sees cancer patients, he gives them, and I've seen it because we've shared the same patients before. I've seen his treatment plan. It's insane. There is like all this scientific evidence, like references to the exact study, what exactly it does, why they're taking it, the biochemical reaction that's going to take place in their body. It's extraordinarily science-based, way more than any treatment plan you'd get from a medical doctor, because they don't show that kind of stuff. They don't show why you're taking what you're taking, the studies behind it, what exactly it's doing in the body. So yeah, he definitely does that. For example, he might provide information about the astragalus root for a patient who's described a platinum-based chemotherapy. A National Institute of Health review of research on the plant found that it produced enhanced immune responses and reduced levels of pro-inflammatory proteins. It concluded, however, there is not sufficient reliable scientific evidence to know whether astragalus is useful for any health condition. Yeah, pretty much almost all studies have to say that. I also have a research degree. I have a master's of science in integrative medicine research, so I kind of know how these research studies go. You pretty much have to say that until there's like an overwhelming amount of evidence. And even then, you can't really say it's useful for, a certain health condition. You can just say, oh, it does this particular thing in the body. Robinson is not allowed to order blood work or interpret lab tests. I can't so much as take your temperature or tell you to drink more water, as that is some form of diagnosis, he said. That is what this bill will address. Yes, because it's quite strict and ridiculous. And in fact, talking about agendas, I've talked to people. Granted, they didn't come from an accredited naturopathic medical school, but they did come from some kind of nutrition school, and they told this one client of theirs not to eat so much Burger King, and they ended up getting arrested because it was a setup, and that client was somebody from the FDA, and that was like a treatment that they weren't supposed to make because they didn't have the proper license. And it's like, need I say more? Robinson, that's Todd, said he would welcome residencies being eventually mandated for those seeking to be licensed as a naturopathy doctor, but said it would require funding akin to that provided by the federal government for conventional medicine. So, I mean, there's a reason we don't have all these residencies. We don't have the money, that they do. The first 2 years of study taken by those in the field is similar to that for medical doctors, he said. Naturopathic doctors use proven treatments that are safe, he said, and the number of complaints and malpractice cases in the field are low. If we were not safe practitioners, there would be mountains of evidence to show that, he said. Some in the medical field disagree. Jade Eric, a 30-year-old California woman, died in 2017 after a naturopathic doctor gave her an intravenous preparation of curcumin, a substance found in the spice turmeric. She was being treated for multiple food allergies. It is a very sad case that somebody died under the hands of a naturopathic doctor. This is IV therapy. That's a serious therapy. Any type of IV therapy, whether you're administering to the vein a drug or a natural compound, IV therapy is no joke. So it's a even if it's considered naturopathic medicine, it's still considered invasive medicine, the kind that you use last. So I tried to look into this story a little bit. I wasn't clear on, exactly what happened. This naturopathic doctor might have not done the IV properly, or they might have done the IV properly, but people can be very reactive. You just don't ever exactly know how a body is going to respond to something. And we're talking about something intense here. We're not talking about taking a supplement orally. We're talking about pumping turmeric in your veins. That's an intense therapy. Maybe there was comorbidities they were unaware of, or who knows. Bodies are not all the same. So I don't know exactly why that happened, but yeah, we're talking IV therapy. That's not what most naturopathic doctors are even going to be doing. And I know in states like where I'm licensed in Oregon, there's extra training you got to go through to give IVs and all of that. And there's plenty of them done that are safe. I mean, come on. The fact that this article cited one death from a naturopathic doctor, how many people die at the hands of a medical doctor? Oh, that's right, about 500,000 a year, because that's the number three cause of death in the US is iatrogenic, as we mentioned earlier, medical errors or medical treatment. So, okay. In almost 3 decades as a licensed oncologist, David Gorski said he's treated several breast cancer patients who relied on naturopathy to treat their tumors. None of them showed up until they had developed very large ulcerated tumors, and it was obvious that naturopathy wasn't working, said Gorski, a professor of surgery and oncology at Wayne State University School of Medicine. Most had distant metastases by the time they presented, meaning that they were no longer curable. Okay, let's talk about that. We don't know what that even exactly means, because here is exactly what could have happened and what does happen. I'll tell you that exact scenario. Okay, person diagnosed with cancer. Oh no, I have cancer. Oof. I witnessed my loved one have cancer and go through chemo, and that looked like the most awful experience in the world. It was supposed to save them, and it didn't. And they declined so quickly, and their quality of life was terrible. I don't think I want to go. I don't think I want to go that route. Maybe I'll try something natural. But where can I go? I don't know. It's not like there's any naturopathic doctors or naturopathic clinics around here that I can go to and seek real professional guidance and help and support. So, in fact, it's not even in my awareness. I don't even know that's even really available. So I guess I'm just gonna Dr. Google and search online. A lot of this is before AI, and even with AI. I guess I'll just, search Google. Oh, turmeric. That seems to be good for cancer. There seems to be a lot of evidence on that, a lot of studies on that. It seems to have anti-cancer properties. All right, I think I'm going to go to my local grocery store and buy some turmeric. Okay. Never mind that most supplements on the market are shit because they're actually created by the same companies that create drugs, pharmaceutical companies, just making supplements that don't actually have in them what they're supposed to have in them, or it's just so dead. There's no active components alive anymore. It's not the amount that they're supposed to have, or they're in a form that's completely indigestible, or the person has gut issues, which is very common, and they can't assimilate the nutrients anyway. Never mind those issues. And so that's all they're doing is this crap store-bought turmeric, thinking it might actually help them because they don't know any better, because they're ignorant, because there's not people like me all over the place to say, hey, you have another option. And yeah, is it any surprise their cancer does not get better? Is anyone actually surprised by that? I didn't think so. So then they panic and they're like, oh shit, maybe I should go to the conventional doctor. So they do. Then the conventional doctor is like, yep, looks like naturopathic medicine doesn't work. No, it does work if you use it correctly. If you see a licensed naturopathic doctor or someone, I shouldn't even necessarily say licensed because I'm unlicensed in the state of Florida, but I'm licensed in the state of Oregon. Someone who knows what they're talking about, someone who went to an accredited naturopathic medical school. They would give a very different treatment plan than that. And sure, do those always work? No. And I think, and this is me going on a bit of my soapbox again, and I think a big reason why a lot of naturopathic cancer treatments don't work, a lot of them do work, by the way, a lot of them do work, but not all of them work. And the ones that don't, I honestly believe it's because the true root of cancer is not addressed, which is something non-physical in nature. We're talking something on the mental, emotional, energetic, or spiritual planes. We're talking repressed emotions. We're talking about undealt with emotions. We're talking about traumas. We're talking about destructive patterns. We're talking about the subconscious not being in alignment with the belief of healing, which is why I am one of the best to go see for cancer, because I not only provide naturopathic medicine for the physical body, I provide not only energy medicine for the energy body, but I provide transformational life coaching to address this often missed component. Because even when the cancer is cured in remission, we'll say, by, not cured, but in remission by whether it's by conventional, integrative, or naturopathic, it does oftentimes come back because you haven't treated the true root. Okay. He describes naturopathy as a hodgepodge of mostly unscientific, there's that word again, unscientific, eye roll, projection. Treatment modalities such as detoxification, in quotes, like coffee enemas. Okay, coffee enemas need to be used correctly and whatnot, but to put detoxification in quotes as if it's not a scientific treatment modality, I mean, come on. Who can dispute how toxic our bodies are living in the environment we live in? All the food additives, all the crap the FDA allows in foods, all the shit that's in our water, our air, the products we use on our skin or that we breathe in, cleaning. I mean, it's no lie that humans are full of toxins, heavy metals, parasites, and it just so happens when you get a lot of this stuff out, people start feeling better and their bodies start working better. I wonder why, because they actually can, because they're not overwhelmed and overloaded and impeded by these things. It's just common sense. I don't know why people can't grasp this detox concept. Legalizing and licensing naturopathic doctors will lend credence to those unproven treatments, he said. Britt Hermes qualified as a naturopathy doctor in 2011 and worked for 2 years in Washington and Arizona treating cancer patients. She quit after learning that her boss, also a naturopathic doctor, was importing and injecting Ukraine, an Eastern European drug unapproved by the FDA. The incident caused her to critically re-examine and leave her chosen profession. It led me to ultimately feel I was doing something unethical, she said. In worst case scenario, it was dangerous to patients. In the best case scenario, it was a waste of time and money. If Florida legalizes naturopathy, she is convinced that the industry will continue to lobby state lawmakers to expand the treatments they can provide. Okay, first of all, that seemed like a really unnecessary addition to the article. So one naturopathic doctor worked with another naturopathic doctor who was importing illegal drugs from other countries. Okay, my first question was, well, was it working? Didn't actually say whether it was working or not. And yes, especially if it wasn't working, that is unethical. Maybe you should leave that job, but maybe that was an isolated incident. Maybe you don't need to think all naturopathic doctors are unethical and doing illegal, dangerous things just because one did that you know of, that you had an experience with. Come on. And it's not like the same doesn't ring true for conventional doctors. Like, what an unnecessary addition to an article. But yeah. Anyway, that's it. So I would love to hear your comments, but everybody, fingers crossed, the House will pass the bill and wonderful naturopathic doctors such as myself will finally have the rights and privileges that we should have had all along because we did the work. We have the education, we have the experience, we have the training, and everybody else just needs to catch up to that. Much love. Oh, by the way, if you liked this video at all, or even if you didn't, why don't you subscribe to see more fun stuff like this from me? Subscribe, like, comment, and more content coming soon. Much love, everybody.